Hello, welcome back to just another opinion media review. And today's media is Lord of the Rings, The War of. I'm not gonna say the last name, but it's in the title, so I'll probably screw it up, and then I'll have somebody like, "That's not how you say it." This movie sucked. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. This movie was boring. There didn't seem like there was. It was like just plot. There was no kind of. Well, okay, I'll get into it. So, we follow our protagonists, and I'm not gonna say their names. I'm not good with names. If anybody's seen any of my anime reviews, I am terrible with names I just can't pronounce. So, our main protagonist, she's, sitting with her father, who's the king, and this guy and his son come in and are like, "Hey, I want you, your daughter, to marry my son." And the king's like, "No, I'm not doing that." And then the guy's all mad. He's like, "All right, let's go outside and fight." And so they go out and fight. The guy hits the king twice, a couple cheap shots. The king punches him in the jaw, and then the guy's dead. And then the son's like, "You killed my father." And it's like, okay, first of all, it was all a fair fight. We knew exactly what was gonna happen. Or not, we didn't know exactly what's going to happen, but we know that there was a fight that's going to happen. So he gets all pissy, and he, the father, or the king then bans everybody. And so, the main character, she goes on a, on a, expedition, looking for this bird or something like that. She, supposedly, the birds in this, universe can understand humans. They can understand the human tongue. So, the king was like, "Hey, no, you gotta take a couple people with you." So they go on horses, or they find these dead carcasses, and this elephant starts to attack them. One of them, the guards, is the cousin to her. So he's like, "Oh, I'll protect you." Now keep in mind, they all have horses. They could all just run away, but no, they're like, we gotta fight this elephant. So the cousin, he slashes the elephant, but his sword's not strong. And then the main character is like, well, she finds his horn, and she leads this elephant into the forest. And then there's I guess this squid tree monster. Now, first of all, keep in mind, I have never seen. The last time I seen a Lord of the Rings movie was in 2004 or 2002 or 2003. I was 8 years old at the time, and we watched 30 minutes of it, and I was bored of it. So, and then I played Shadow of Mordor, but I didn't play. I probably played 10 hours most of it, but no, probably not even 10 hours. So I don't know all this stuff. So go easy on me on the comments. So she ends up taking. She throws a spear into the this pond, and then the squid monster, tree monster, whatever it is, comes out, grabs the elephant, eats the elephant, and then the guys who are banished were like, "Oh, we were on here on a quest. Luckily to that, we found you here," and they just capture her. She doesn't put up a fight or anything. She's just they basically just put a bag over her head, and she's hitting the guy's back. And so then the guy who was banished, his name's Wolf. He's like, "Yeah, I'm the new leader of this town." We found out that I think we found out later that this town is they're stupid. They believe in and I guess there's mystical stuff in this universe, but they just have it seems like a low IQ. You can tell them anything and they believe it. So the three people that were sent to protect our main character happen just to find her. They're looking "Oh, she's right in this room right here." It's there's no oh, there's footsteps. Footsteps go this way. Let's go over here. So that's kind of where I'm at with this, where it's like it's just it's just like we're going to plot to plot to plot. Then so they end up breaking in, freeing her. The king's mad that the cousin didn't protect her, so he banishes the cousin. Now I think we'll find out later that maybe he had a thought of like, oh, maybe it's a good thing to he's not gonna be here. Then they get word that there's gonna be an attack. They go out. The king takes his two sons, her brothers. They go out. It's not an ambush, but it's a decoy mission. And then actually Wolf is actually going for the town. And so our main character, ends up averting that, not averting, but basically kind of slowing down she's like, hey, all civilians and women, children, you go this way, and we're going to get you out of here before you get in danger. Because there was also found out that there's a guy who is working with Wolf. So her two brothers, well, her one brother is like, they stopped the elephant attack. There's like another couple elephants that are attacking, that are being controlled by Wolf's gang, and he stops one. He starts cheering. He gets an arrow to the neck, so he dies. And then the king, he gets shot a couple times with the arrows. The main character is able to get him on the horse, and they run away. And then the other brother, his horse is like out of breath, so he stops and he puts he's like, well, you guys go on. I'll meet up with you. So they capture him. Well, we don't know this at the time, but they get to this base that's in the mountains, and the wolf brings the brother back, and they're like, the king's like, hey, I'll trade. You want me? I'll go there. And Wolf's like, nah, I'm just gonna cause chaos. So he slashes the brother's neck, so he dies. And then now it's like, oh, now we're gonna fast forward a little bit. Now we're going through the season, like winter's coming, and so they're building up. So all the people have made it to this castle, and they're all in the mountains, and so the other guys are like building up. I thought it was gonna be a wrecking ball, but it ended up being like it's gonna become a bridge. But they're just out there, and then we find out that there's like it's not a wraith, but I think it's the king. After he heals, he goes out and starts killing off the guys. It actually might be an orc. I know orcs show up a little bit later, but they're not really like a main premise. But our main character finds that the king is, he's healed up, and she's like, you can't take them all on. And he's like, yeah, I will. So he ends up bringing her back to the front gate. He closes the gate, and she's like, no. And he goes out there and he fights other guys. He ends up dying, but he dies not by the people, but he does just by freezing to death. Then they get the bridge built, and she goes up the mountain to go talk to the bird. The bird then finds the cousin. The bridge now comes and is ready to they're ready to invade. The Wolf's gang's ready to invade, and then she has a duel with Wolf, and she's like, hey, if I win, you stop attacking us. And he's like, all right. And so she ends up winning. He's like, no, I'm not gonna stop. And his partner, who's Wolf's partner, who's been with him, is like, you know what? You're a coward. I don't want to be with you. And then he dies because Wolf's like, yeah, whatever, and kills him. And then the cousin gets the message from the bird, and so he comes down, and they don't finish off the rest of the guys, but the rest of the guys are like, oh my God, it's the wraith. And so they run away, and our main character ends up killing Wolf, and then the cousin becomes the new king. And that's about it. Oh, and then she ends up going to meet Gandalf. And that's how the movie ends. The movie was like fucking boring. And it was okay. It wasn't boring, but like I said, there was like, there's too much coincidences of things. Hey, I'm gonna jump in here just for a second. This is Aaron from the future. So I'm rewatching this review, and oh, it's fucking terrible. You know, I should have said her name. I think it's Hera. I should you know, because it's like the main character. So what I'm trying to say, and I'm not gonna do perfectly, is when I talk about, I think when I talk about the plot, it's basically like, you know, she gets captured, and she doesn't put up a fight. She drops whatever the symbol that they looked at, and then it just pops up that her allies find her right at this base. There's no like, they don't pick up the thing and go, oh, you know, there's footprints going this way. There's like, oh, the crows or something flying. It's just like, oh, we're here now. And that's kind of like what I got annoyed with the movie, is it's just that, you know, she's at the perfect place at the right time, and they're at you know, everything happens. Like, you know, she doesn't kill the traitor. You know, the horse ends up kicking the traitor, and she just has a pitchfork, and the guy lands on a pitchfork and dies. Just so many coincidences of just like, yeah, what would she have done if she went to that forest with the elephant chasing her, and that squid tree guy wasn't there? I should know. I should have looked up the name. I apologize for not knowing any of this stuff. I went back and looked at somebody else's review because I was curious to see if people found it interesting. I only watched one person, and you know, I found out that this takes place 200 years, and you know, in the future, in the past. And it sets up events that leads into the future. I don't know if I said it before, or it's going to be coming up when she meets the wizard. I didn't realize that was Gandalf. So I'm like, because I'm talking to my brother, and it was like, oh yeah, Gandalf's a silver hair guy. I'm like, oh, well, why would she be searching? Why would she go be searching? You know, searching for him. So I apologize if you guys somehow made it to the end of this, and you have not like just clicked off. I do appreciate it, because just watching it and putting the pic, you know, explaining something real quick on the thing of like, oh, this happened. Yeah, I need to take notes on movies. I just kind of I like to freeball it. You know, I like to just kind of go in and be like, okay, this is what I remember. But yes, I appreciate if you guys made it to this point. Yeah, it's just too many coincidences in this movie, and it's just, which is fine. I don't, you know, you don't need to explain everything, but it's just, come on now. How the hell are they on the castle where they're at is like right below where the eagle bird, whatever. I apologize. I should have looked at the names, but like how it's just like right there, and then like. The other thing I didn't explain is, like, when these soldiers are being attacked, the bad guys are being attacked. They're like, oh, it's a wraith. You know, I think we end up finding out that's orcs. They just continue to build the bridge. Like, Wolf comes back. Oh, yeah, I'll finish up with this after this. But Wolf comes back and he's like, yeah, like half my soldiers are dead, and they're still just working on it. Like, if there's something out there, let's fucking run. I don't know if like if they run they get killed or something. The other thing, Wolf, I like Wolf because he is a terrible leader, and I don't know if so. Like when he shows up, you know, his father's like, hey, you should you know, your daughter should marry my son. And you know, like I said, the king goes, no, his name is Helm. If you made it this far, I keep calling him king. It's Helm Hammerhead, Hammerhand, something Hammer. But you know, they say no. So then after his father dies, like they say that the father has like the king has like some type of hero's blood or something in his system. So maybe everybody knows this, and that's why he hit harder, and maybe he shouldn't have hit harder. But yeah, so like after he leaves, he goes and I think he goes talks to these people, like, oh, I can lead you, and then they capture Hera, and then I say, once Harris rejected him again, I think he just crumbled, and like he led his people to death basically. They were out in the wintertime. They didn't have like any protection, and then like some of them froze, and then just like the battles, like he just kept leading them, to their demise. And he states like, oh, before he's about to die to Hera, he says like, oh, I knew you'd be my downfall. And it's like it's always interesting because there's a flashback when they're kids, and she's the one that ended up swiping his eye, and so that's why he has that scar on his face. And so like he's like, yeah, I knew you would be my downfall. And it's just, I love when the villains, like they come to they bring their own demise. Like he could have been fine, he could have went on, there would have been nothing. He wouldn't have been attacked, he wouldn't have died. But no, he had to go find her, and then he had to, because when he killed the second brother, his commander was like, oh, you didn't come out and say it, but he's like, you fucking idiot, we had right where we wanted him. And then he's like, no, I'm gonna make this long and grueling. And then they, like I said, winter time, they get attacked by orcs, and there's actually a symbolism. He goes back to the where the king used to live after they burned down the village, and he sits on the crown, and there's nobody around him. It's just him and his commander, and he's like, I'm the king now. And he's like, well, no, because the king's still alive. But yeah, it's a great symbolism, and I was gonna bring that up, and I completely spaced it off. But yes, I do like that he was basically a villain's villain, and I think we need to get back to just, you don't want to root for these people. You don't want to see them. You don't want to be like, yeah, Darth Vader, he's misunderstood. We just need villains being villains. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll leave you with the last few minutes if you made it this far. All right, bye. It's happening. Like, how's this one group right here? To set up grabbing her, and then how do they go find her at this base, and how did they break into the base without anybody noticing? So it's just kind of like, oh, we have an idea. And I think at the beginning, I was going to look at this, but I think at the beginning they said that this is a story that nobody knows. I'm like, yeah, because the story sucks. So, I guess if you like Lord of the Rings, maybe check it out. If you don't really know much, because I was talking to my roommate, and I'm like, yeah, it's probably one of those things where it's like, if you know what's going on, it's like, oh, that thing. Like, the only thing I knew was the whole Gandalf thing. And one of the characters, long silver hair, silver beard, he shows up for like a split second at the very end of the movie. But yeah, she's like, yeah, we're gonna go find a wizard, and he goes by many names. One of the names is Gandalf, and I'm like, hey, I know that name. So I'll be interested to see if this character is relevant in the Lord of the Rings story, or if it's just one of those where like, hey, we have the IP, so let's use it. Yeah, I mean, that's basically my review is basically how the movie went. It's just longer dialogue and just nothing. Like, so the other thing I don't like about when characters are set up differently, like the king, he's got like blonde hair, it's turning more white now. And then the two brothers, they have like blonde hair, and then the one daughter, she has red hair. And it's like, okay, so are you part? Is your mom, is she a redhead, or is it just like, this is our symbolism of like, she's different? But no, I don't know. It's maybe if you like Lord of the Rings, and you understand all the references, because I'm thinking, and I'm not 100% sure, the castle base, the mountain castle, was like, maybe that was like a symbolism of like the movies, but I remember it kind of being different. So I don't know if maybe this takes place years before the events of the movies, but that's for the Lord of the Rings smart people to figure out. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be back sometime in the near future. So